In 2015, we left the rat race and went to the farm. We bought a 100-year-old farmhouse and 9 acres. After 3 years of extensive renovations, we can finally call ourselves College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Today we're talking tiller maintenance. Now, if you saw my previous video about tilling your corn with a hand tiller, my little 22-year-old tiller wouldn't run. Of course, it was the first time I got it out of the barn this year. It wouldn't run unless the choke was full on. And then finally it just quit altogether. I don't know if there's some contaminant in the gas or what's happened. My bet is the carburetor's gummed up over the winter. Now, at the end of the winter, or at the end of the garden season, I turned the tiller on and turn the gas off. So it burns up all the gas in the carburetor. But there could still have been enough gas in there to gum up the works. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take the carburetor off and clean it and take you on for a ride, because the truth is, if you're going to homestead, you can't afford to have all this stuff, somebody come and fix it for you. Now, I'm an educated fella. I'm not a good mechanic. I'll be that right up front. Hydraulics, pneumatics, robotics, I'm great. Physics, chemistry, also great. Mechanics, not so great. But my dad was a mechanic, and I helped him work on tractors and cars and all that stuff growing up, so I can hold my own. But most of the time on my cars, I hire a professional, because that's all computerized. But now these little tillers, they're not. So I'm going to show you how to take off the carburetor, clean it, and put it back on. Here we are back. This is the part of the engine where the carburetor resides. It's right behind this air cleaner right here. What I have to do is I have to take off the 2 screws. One there and one there. They're 8mm. So I'll go ahead and get those off. And here's what's inside. This is just a screen that catches the big particles. And then inside the screen sits this air filter. Now this air filter is a little dirty, but it's just fine. It's going to make it. I took the air compressor and blew it out a little bit, beat it on my knee, and it'll be just fine. It goes right in there. That's the lid, and I'm going to set that off. And here's the carburetor, right in back behind there. And the way the choke works is it turns that little fly thing there and cuts down on the amount of air. You cut it all the way down, and the amount of air that can go in is reduced. Then you open it all the way up, and it has free flow of air. Now, what was happening is I had to keep the choke all the way down. So what that means is I had to make it be high gasoline content and low air content, which is not good for the machine. It's not a practical solution. You really want to have the optimum mix, and that would be with the choke all the way off. So now you'll see there are 2 bolts in there. That's all that holds the carburetor on. And I'm going to go ahead and take those loose, and then I'll show you what's behind there. Okay, here's the carburetor, and here's the frame that held the air cleaner. And of course the upper part here, this is the choke control. That had to come off in order to take the air cleaner off. But see how it closes the gate so that it lets the air in and out. So the problem was it just wasn't letting air in and out like it should. So what I need to do is I'm going to take this off. Then you can see it just slips on. It only fits on one way, so it's not like you're going to mess it up. So then I just need to remove 2 bolts, and you'll see that I need to turn the gas off, because if I don't turn the gas off, it's going to leak everywhere. So now I need to take off the gas, and I need to take off, there are 2 bolts. All right, there's a bolt right here and a bolt on this other side, and they're 8mm. So I need to take those off, and I'll need to take off the connections for the governor. These have an odd little governor. You can see where they're connected back there onto the throttle body. And you want to be certain that you don't lose these little gaskets. Just make sure that you don't mess those up, because those are really important. Okay, I've got the bolts totally loose, and this carburetor's ready to pull out. I get this pulled up out of the way, then the carburetor will just unmount. Now, once I get it unmounted, see, it's just a hole back in there where the carburetor sits. Don't lose those gaskets. You know, they're gaskets, so don't lose them. Alright. Now, once I get that out, now I have to get the carburetor loose from the governor. These little Briggs and Straton engines have a pretty complicated governor system, and spring system. So I have to get those unattached. I can't do that one-handed, but I'm going to show you where they're at. If you'll look right here, you'll see the governor attachment, and then there's a spring attached too. So I'll have to take the governor loose first, and then the spring, and then come over here and squeeze this and take this hose loose. Alright, I'll do that, and when I get that done, I'll come back to you. Alright, here's what the carburetor looks like. There's this big piece right here. It's just an extension so that the carburetor sticks out a little bit more from the engine. Now, keep a place where you keep all of your parts together. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. Put it all together. Now, I need to take this carburetor apart. Well, first off, I need that gas out of there. So I'm going to just let the gas drain out. It'll come out of the bowl and right into the carburetor. Most of the works that you're going to get to in these little carburetors are accessed from the bowl. Okay? And through some screws or things, but most of the holes are accessed either through here or through the bowl. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to take this and take the bowl off. This is where the float is that keeps too much gas from coming in. It goes up and down as the gas fills. It goes up and down and fills up and keeps too much gas from going into the carburetor. So I'm going to take the bowl off right here, and it's probably full of gunk. So, okay, this was a 13mm. Now, when you take it off, that's got a little gasket on it. Be certain not to lose that. All right, set this off here. Set that right there. Now, when I take this out, take this off, you'll notice that there's an O-ring gasket right up here. Don't lose that. Clean that off pretty good. I'll be getting a rag and taking to it. But now, right here is a place that allows the gas to go in and out. There's a little needle valve right there. I don't know how well you can see that, but when this moves, it closes this valve. That's got to come off. So you start off by taking that out. And the way you do that is you get a pair of needle nose pliers and grab a hold of this little thing and pull it out. Now, since I can't pull it, I'll push from the other side to begin with. There we go, got it started. And then that just pulls out. I've got that loose. Have a place set for these little parts. And then when this comes apart, you take the float off, and here is a needle valve. That's a needle valve. Okay, it fits right in this hole right there. And that hole could be clogged up. Now you'll notice there's some other holes here that run through the carburetor. Now I'm going to show you how you clean those. Now I want to clean those little areas, those little openings. This is carb and throttle body cleaner. Now I'm about out, but to be honest, this doesn't do a real good job. It does a start. It'll loosen up anything in there. So you start off by all these little ports like this one. You stick that right over the port and spray. The ones in there, and spray and spray. And then the other ones around, you spray those out too. Okay, the ones in here I would spray in there, but I can't get to them with the spray. But I'm noticing when I spray that my spray is not coming through into the throttle. So there's probably my problem. That's one of these ports is gobbed up. So now, what do I do about that? Well, this is what you do. This is a torch tip cleaning set. It's made for cleaning torches. But you know what? It cleans these little carburetors really, really well. Because the tips, the little wires are so small. Well, get them where you can see them. They're so small. You just pick the one that fits in the port that you want to clean. I start off with the smallest one and clean the smallest ports first. Okay. Now this port is really small. I stick that through and I want to see it come all the way out the other side. That was too small for the port, so go up in size. You go up in size until you can get the biggest one that'll fit through that port. And don't try and put too big a one in there because you'll mess your port up. There we go. That port was almost stopped up. Well, guess what? It's not stopped up now. Okay, I've got a bigger port. Use a bigger one. Okay, all clean. Now this little port where the bowl sets. Okay, clean that port out. Where the needle valve goes. Then from the back here, see there's some ports right here. I'll clean one. I want a single, not a double. Clean one. Go all the way through. These little torch tips are segmented. You know, they've got like a little burr on them so that you can just push them right through there and they scratch it and clean it out. That one. Okay, all of them have been cleaned out. Now I look at my bowl and see that there's a little bit of gunk in that bowl, so I'm going to clean that out and then I'll put the carburetor back together. Okay, it's all put back together. Now I haven't put a spark plug in a new one. A couple years, probably put one in, but for right now I want to see if cleaning the carburetor took care of the problem. If it didn't, I'll put a spark plug in. Okay, there it is with the choke off. It's running fine. I'd like to thank you for visiting with us at College Hill Farm today. I hope you found our videos entertaining and or informative. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment on both Facebook and YouTube. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.